All right. Good morning and welcome to Real Deal Sports Show each and every Saturday morning live from the Rock Palm Broker Studios. It's the Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman. I'm the Radman here with Internet Passport this morning. Joining me, welcome back, Internet Passport. J-GILLZ out on the road. Got a big wedding going on today. Good. So safe travels, J-GILLZ and the family for that wedding coming up. But we're back, and right now we're going to get right into Radman Rants. With any further ado, let's get right to it. We're on fire this morning because we usually don't talk hockey, but we're talking hockey. And you know when we talking hockey, it must be the Buffalo Sabers. What have they done now? Guess what? They continue to go backwards, not forwards. The Buffalo Sabers, this is what happens when you hire the guy that runs your souvenir shop, Kevin Adams, your general manager of your souvenir shop, is also doing double duty. He's too busy trying to order jerseys and souvenir hockey puck sticks, all kinds of stuff, getting ready for next season. And then instead, now he got preoccupied in his mind with the NFL, with the NHL draft. And before the draft, what does he do? Like he always does, he seems to do during the offseason. He trades away a goal scorer. This time, J.J. Peterko, this guy had 22 goals last season, looked very promising for the Buffalo Sabres. What does he, at the end of the season, Kevin Adams comes out this week and says, oh, J.J. Peterko roughly asked not, he didn't want to be in Buffalo no longer. Well, guess what, at Kevin Adams, who the hell wants to be in Buffalo? For a losing franchise that hasn't made the playoffs since 2011 season and lost in the first round to the Philadelphia Flyers. At least when you make the playoffs in 2010, you did make it the prior 4 out of the last 6 years back in that before 2010 or 11. But since 2010 or 11, when the Pagulas really took control of the team is in the toilet. They have not made the playoffs the past 14 seasons. The past 14 seasons. I didn't say 4. I didn't say 8. I didn't say 10. I didn't say 12. I said 14 seasons. How is that possible in a National Hockey League where half of the teams make the playoffs every year? Half of the teams make the playoffs. How can you come out this past season and then you come up in an 82-game schedule, you come up with 36 wins, 39 losses, 7 ties for 79 points. 3 points ahead of the Boston Bruins, who I'm shocked that they finally had a down year. Boston has always been a stellar franchise, usually making the playoff. But they were in the basement at 76 points. The Buffalo Sabres were only 3 points out of the basement, 79 points. The top team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, had 108 points. 108 points. So 79, 89, 99. That's almost 30 points out of first place. 30 points. What's going on in Buffalo? Kevin Adams. Kevin Adams, when are you going to fire yourself? Because it's obvious you need to get back. You're spending too much time you need to get back to the souvenir shop and get those jerseys and get those hockey pucks and get all those other souvenirs ready for the upcoming season to sell to hockey fans primarily out of Canada who's buying it. Because I know good and well, damn well, a lot of Buffalo people aren't buying the souvenirs. So when is Terry Pegula, who's the owner of the team, when is he going to say something about it? Oh, guess what? Terry Pegula did speak this past week. He's selling the Rochester Nighthawks. He's getting out of the indoor lacrosse business. The Buffalo Bandits are probably going to be next. What is Terry Pegula? You getting rid of the Nighthawks? That bodes not so well for Buffalo, for Rochester fans of the Rochester Nighthawks. They have a good attendance. The team has followed well. They're a winning team. They win a lot of the games. They may not win the championship, but they're competitive. And that's all you really want, a competitive team. And guess what? Terry Pegula is out of Blue Cross Arena. Remember when Lovely Warren and the former mayor Lovely Warren, and they had a press conference a few years ago, and they stood down there in front of Blue Cross Arena and was so excited to have Terry and Kim Pegula take over the running of Blue Cross Arena. And I said it on this show at that time 3 or 4 years ago. I told you so. Watch what's going to happen. What happened first? We lost the Jehovah's Witness conference. Every summer, Jehovah's Witness have been coming to Rochester for over 20 years, booking up all the hotels in downtown Rochester every year. They would be there 3 different weeks. They come all the way from Albany, Syracuse, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. They would be there for like 3 to 4 weeks. Their conference would be going on with different sectors of the Eastern region will hold their event at Blue Cross Arena. But what happened when Terry Pegula and them got in there? He jacked the price up so high that they said, see you later. We going to Scranton, Pennsylvania. We going down there to Scranton. So they took all that revenue from the hotels, all the restaurants, and notice there's very few restaurants in downtown Rochester anymore because there ain't nothing going on in downtown Rochester anymore. The crime rate is very low because there's not much going on in downtown Rochester. And one of the reasons, Blue Cross Arena has not been operating to capacity. But this year, a few months ago, the city woke up, the contract ended with the Pegulas, and they ousted the Pegulas, and they hired a group out of Iowa. I think it's Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They have a new group that is coming in to run Blue Cross Arena and bring in, because you notice ever since the Pegulas owned it or was in charge of running the operations there, very few events took place there. You lost the Jehovah's Witness tour. The only thing you had with a lot was the truck show, the mass truck show, where they crunching up the cars, and they also had the Harlem Globetrotters. That seemed to be the 2 regular events. But after that, you lost a lot of concerts. You haven't had that many. You have very few concerts where the previous group that ran it, those cats had concerts in here all the time. They had all kinds of concerts coming in, R&B, hip-hop, country, all kinds of shows, classical. They had all kinds of music concert shows coming to Blue Cross Arena. But not when the Pegulas took it over. They ran it into the ground. But the Rochester revenue went down. So, like I said, this guy knows fracking. He's a great fracker. He made his money, millions there, but unfortunately, he couldn't parlay it into other areas. For some reason, he doesn't like to have the right people run the business. And then once his lovely wife, Kim Pegula, became ill, we all thoughts and prayers are still out for Kim Pegula. Hope she gets well and hope she continues to recover from her medical condition. We hope she recovers. But when she ran it, she did a little bit better with the not much better fare, much better than Terry Pegula. And Terry, now the wheels, since she's not in the operation any longer, the PSG, that's going under. They're about to dissolve that. The Pegula Sports Entertainment, PSE, the Pegula Sports Entertainment Corporation, that's about to be resolved. Most of the people are gone from that operation. They didn't have any black or minority people even in charge over there working in that establishment, which is a shame as well. That's a whole nother story on Terry Pegula. But Terry Pegula, you ran Blue Cross Arena into the ground. The city of Rochester has new groups running it, and you definitely ran the Buffalo Sabers into the ground by being cheap, not hiring a hockey person. You need to hire a general manager that has experience, that has won a Stanley Cup championship as a general manager in the National Hockey League. Don't go get a guy that ran your souvenir shop and was good at selling team jerseys and thinks that person can come on and turn your hockey team around. And then every time a player says that they want out of Buffalo, why would you let J.J. Peterka go? Why wouldn't you tell this guy, hey, we're gonna build around you. We're gonna get some other goal scorers. And also, do you know any guys that you know that are good players that can play, that you play with in junior hockey or on the way up, that might be very helpful to Morris Thompson on the Beltway? Good morning to you. Glad you're listening to the show, checking us out, Morris. Morris knows something about hockey as well. But let me tell you, you don't let good players go. This guy scored 22 goals last season. He's a guy that you should be building around. And then Kevin Adams at the press conference the other day says, oh, yeah, we traded him because we don't want people on this hockey team that don't want to be in Buffalo, that don't want to be proud to wear the Buffalo Sabres jersey. Who the hell in Buffalo is proud to wear the Buffalo Sabres jersey the last 14 years? Kevin Adams. Who? Who wants to wear the jersey? Who? Some people might have bought J.J. Peterka's jersey, thinking that he's going to be here and do well. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable how the Sabres continue to go backwards with Kevin Adams' leadership or non-leadership. You do not let good talent out the door. Jack Eichel, they let him. He was the number 1 draft pick several years ago. He went on to the Las Vegas Knights and won them helped them win a Stanley Cup championship. He helped the Las Vegas Knights win a championship. What's going on? You get rid of your best players. All of these guys go to different places to play. And then Kevin Adams out the press conference. Well, unfortunately, we're in Buffalo. It's cold in the wintertime. A lot of these players want to go to Miami or Florida. Miami or the state, to go to the state of Florida and play for the Florida Panthers or the other hockey team there in Miami as well. Well, Kevin Adams, guess what? It's not strictly the weather. They're a good organization. Who won the Stanley Cup for the second year in a row? The Florida Panthers. They want to go there to play good hockey. They don't want to play with bums. And obviously everybody says the same thing. They said this organization is a mess. Everybody wants out of the Buffalo for the Buffalo Sabres. Nobody wants to play there. So that tells you the internal workings must be totally dysfunctional in Buffalo for them not to make the playoffs in 14 years and not to keep their players. Because every offseason, another player says, hey, this is a horrible organization. I want out. I want out. And then you got the nerve to give them an out. Why would you trade this guy to Utah for a kid, for an up-and-coming defenseman that scored goals against you? Everybody scores on the Sabres. I mean, this kid is a up-and-coming he's more of a prospect. But you give away a goal scorer and you expect to win. How you going to expect to win? Big O says the Sabres are a dumpster fire. That's just what they are. They're on fire. Big O, good comment. The Sabres are on fire. You got a goalie here in Rochester, Devon, that Devon kid. He's pretty good, but he's small. He doesn't seem to last playing night after night or every other night. Levi's a good up-and-coming goalie, but you can't play him every other night because he wears, we saw it in the playoffs here in Rochester this past season. He's talking about, oh, Levi, he's going to have a shot to start for the Sabres. Really? After some of those cheap goals he gave up in the playoffs? Levi was one of the main reasons the Amherst lost the playoff series because he couldn't make he gave up a goal 5 seconds or 10 seconds into one of the games up there in St. John, Newfoundland. I mean, the puck just went off in between his legs. It's like, really? Really? But that's it on the rant. The Sabres are a dumpster fire. They're going nowhere. As long as Kevin Adams is not in the souvenir shop selling the Buffalo Sabres jerseys and all the other souvenirs that they have down there at KeyBank Arena, if you keep him in as general manager, that Terry Pegula telling you he don't give a damn about the Buffalo Sabres and he don't care about the fans that love hockey in Western New York. The only reason why the Bills. Thank you.
Ooh, Radman.
Yeah. Yes, man.
Epic Radman rant. And that Radman rant was brought to you by the Advantage Federal Credit Union, AdvantageFCU.org for your auto loans, Visa cards, student checking accounts, and much more. Appreciate them always sponsoring a Radman rant on Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a little thing, but it means a lot to us. But also, Radman, over this past week, there's been a lot of news when it comes to basketball. And it seems like there's always something that happens over there in H-Town, baby. So when something happens in H-Town, we have to go ahead and get the best around. And we have the legendary Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review coming in, joining us on Real Deal Sports Show. Hey, good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning, brothers. Radman, I love your rant. I love the fact you got a sponsor for that rant. That gives me another idea. I pick stuff from you, man. I borrow your ideas to go on my show. So, It's my honor to be with you this morning, both of y'all.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome back to the show. And it's always something jumping off in Houston, Texas. Did you get a chance to welcome KD to Houston, Texas earlier this week, Chris?
Well, they have not had, it's not official yet. So there's been no intro press conference. That won't be until July, maybe the 6th, probably the 7th or 8th later on. But when it's going to be announced July 6th that Kevin Durant is a Houston Rocket. You know, word got leaked out on Game 7 day of the NBA Finals, which is a fail. But Kevin Durant for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and draft picks. Rockets winning on that trade. KD will be here. It will be a Rocket, and then most likely sign a contract extension for maybe at least 2 years after that.
Wow. That's good money if you can get it, man.
That's great money, Radman. That's your kind of money up there, making $50 million a year.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. What's the feeling there in Houston? Houston, do they feel that this is and they extended the coach too? They extended him with a contract.
Yes, well. Rocket fans are thrilled to pieces, Radman. They are ecstatic. But you touched on something I think was a determining factor in KD becoming a Rocket. When about 10 days ago, head coach Ime Udoka agreed to a contract extension for more years. And I believe his contract has more years left on it than the general manager, Rafael Stone, which tells me or indicates to me that Ime has more power in decision-making because Ime has wanted Kevin Durant for a while. Rafael Stone wanted Jalen Green to stay a Rocket. Well, 3 days after Ime got the contract extension, Kevin Durant became a Rocket.
Wow. That sounds like he's wearing the general manager's hat there, too. That's what that sounds like.
Sounds like it to me, too. Yes, sir.
Wow. So that looks like a promising situation there. And he also can bring in some other players. And looks like the Celtics are letting players go left and right. I know he knows that roster as well. Might be able to pull somebody from that Celtics roster that he feels could fit the Houston system.
Well, the Celtics, are having a fire sale to reduce their $500 million payroll because of the punitive damages from the collective bargaining agreement that everybody agreed to a few years back. So they traded Jrue Holiday to Portland. I don't know what Portland's doing. Young team. Adding a man in Jrue Holiday, a veteran, 34 years old, coming off an injury, making $35 million for the next 4 seasons. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Ouch. Woo.
And then trading Kristaps Porzingis to the Hawks. So they're freeing up some salaries. Rumors about Derek White, Jaylen Brown. I think those are more rumors than actual happenings. But it's part of reality in the NBA. And it's something that OKC is going to have to deal with in probably 2 or 3 seasons. Because salary cap is going to be the amount of salary is going to be so much, and the salary tax on the payroll is going to be so punitive that teams will have to make moves.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's really bringing a level playing field. And what was your feelings about the finals? How it turned, going 7 games, Indiana versus
I got it right, Radman. I said OKC in 7. It went 7. Disappointing. Big Garcia question. I'll answer in just a second. It was disappointing to see Halliburton go down with the injury. And when you saw it happen, it looked like an Achilles injury, and you read his lips and said, I popped it. So that's what happened. So he's going to be out the season next year. That'll hurt the Pacers. The Eastern Conference is wide open. When you got Dame in Milwaukee out with the Achilles, Jason Tatum out with Achilles in Boston, now Tyrese out with an Achilles in Indiana. So that opens up for everybody else. Knicks, Orlando, Detroit, etc. But back to Dillon Brooks' nasty edge. It's interesting. More and more Rocket people, colleagues, are more upset that Dillon Brooks is traded than Jalen Green is traded. So really? That kind of indicates something. The fans and media, my colleagues, they were more bummed about Dillon Brooks being dealt than Jalen Green. Dillon Brooks, he does provide that nasty edge and that culture and that vibe. He established it. But the Rockets got enough. Tyrese still there. Amen Thompson's still there. They got enough guys who have that nasty vibe. They'll provide that toughness. And Dylan Brooks, sometimes he goes too far. He did a few bonehead plays, fouled 3-point shooters that almost cost Rockets games. So that kind of stuff has to go as well.
Okay. See, that's things that, but you guys covering the Rockets, you know that inside information. That's why we have you on Real Deal Sports Show. Because when you see that during the season, it's the reason why guys get traded. Just like Mike Tomlin always said, it may not be everything you see on the court, but it could be things during practice and things that they internally you see how a player reacts and things of that nature. Because he's a guy that's been traded a few times now. You see guys, and also Drew Holiday. I'm really surprised he's been traded a lot too. It's interesting how some of these players certain players seem to be traded a lot more than other guys.
But don't cry for him, folks and family. Drew's still getting paid. He bouncing around the NBA. But he's still making that $35+ million a year. I know we all like to have such problems.
Oh, for real. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And what's your take on the draft, on the NBA draft, the recent NBA draft?
Cooper Flag, top 2 picks, no surprise. We can talk about Ace Bailey going to Utah. Young fellas getting some bad advice.
Yeah.
And
are you his agent? Who's his agent? Somebody there in Houston?
No. A brother named last name Cooper. I think Omar Cooper. And apparently he is not even a certified agent.
Right. That's what I heard.
So my issue with that is if he is not a certified agent, Ace Bailey, you as the client and your parents, your guardians, whatever, why are you allowing that man to make the decisions for you that impact your pocketbook? If he's the one telling teams, no, we're not working out for him, we're not working out for you, why are you okay with that if he's not your agent? And if he has agents, what are y'all doing? Why are you letting this man dictate your client's whereabouts? That makes no sense to me.
No, it sounds like a family friend or something. That's what this sounds like.
Yeah, going back to his AAU days. Okay, that's nice. Thank you for your time. We'll take care of you when I get to the NBA, but I have an agent. Let them do the work.
That is definitely something that's
you don't find that suspicious.
It's something that's a little suspicious.
You don't find that suspicious.
It definitely is.
You don't find that suspicious.
And I have to say, it's just when it comes to our young people, they're adults. They're 18. They're in college, so they still have a lot of maturing to do. And one person that we also want to be able to bring on and celebrate. A legend there in Rochester, New York, and of Western New York, former professional standout and New York Yankees draft pick. We have joining Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman, R.D. Long, who has a history of impacting and working with young people. And we just want to be able to celebrate him, but also get his opinion when it comes to these young people coming into these sports. And you hear these stories about them hiring folks who are not even licensed agents. That's one thing, but this is something that's really nuts there. And just want to be able to get some of your thoughts on there when it comes to that NBA draft and some of your reactions there, RD. And once again, thanks for joining Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're not his agent, are you? You're not Ace Bailey's agent, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
You know how that goes with these. The kids get attached to certain people, and those people stay in their ear, and it's I don't know. Every situation is different, so I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's crazy that some of these things. As a matter of fact, Big O has a question here. He's curious on Cooper Flag. You think he's perfect for Dallas, but not sure he's a number one option. He gets to be the third star, which is what I see him as in the NBA. Your thoughts on that?
Right now, I mean, it's a perfect fit for him.
Yep.
He's got the veterans to lead the way. I saw Jason Kidd say that he wants to try Cooper Flag at point guard. That's what Cooper did in high school. I mean, if he can do it in the NBA level and distribute and facilitate, why not? Add to his bag and help the Mavericks. So the Mavs are in a great place. They went from an awful trade of getting rid of Luka for practically nothing to landing number pick in the draft and Cooper Flag.
Well, that's the one thing I did see. I kept hearing about Cooper Flag, and I hadn't really watched any games, and I kept hearing about him, so I wanted to see what was going on. So I looked at the stat line he had in like the Sweet 16, and they played Arizona. He had like 38 and 7. And I said, oh, shoot, I need to check this kid out, see what he really doing. So I watched the next game. And by the time I got to it, it was late in the second half with like maybe 7 minutes left, and they had about an 8-9 point lead. And what I was most impressed with was this kid played point guard and distributed and controlled the offense from the 7-minute point mark to the end of the game. And he did it like a point forward, like he was really playing point guard. And the way he was doing, I said, what? I said, yeah, this is a can't miss kid, yo. This is can't. That alone told me he's a can't miss kid, period, point blank.
And with Dallas, do you think Jason Kidd is going to stay, or do you think he may make a move to the Knicks?
That's a great question, man. I don't know what the Mavs are doing. The longer it takes for Kidd to get a new contract extension from Dallas, you have to wonder, because Ime with the Rockets got an extension. Billy Donovan with the Bulls reportedly is working on signing a new contract extension, but Jason Kidd hasn't yet. So y'all up there, y'all tell me what will J Kidd go to the Knicks? You got it until he signs that contract with Dallas. You have to wonder. I'm going to say he's going to stay in Dallas, but it sure is taking a long time.
Yeah, he's going to stay in Dallas.
Yeah, and they have a crazy that he's going to stay in Dallas. Then what were the Knicks doing? Was that just a knee-jerk reaction of just firing the coach almost like the next day or a couple of days after the game, and don't have a true plan of what they wanted to do?
Y'all cover the Knicks. Y'all know Mr. Dolan, how he works, how he operates, how he thinks. He fooled Knick fans for a long time. This season, past season, he was quiet. He didn't butt in. Knicks are winning games, advanced in the playoffs, and then, oh, yeah, Tibbs, you got to go, man. You have a plan for replacement? Not really. I just got tired of Tibbs. Okay. That's what it looks like.
That was a blame game. That's all. That's all they're doing is have a little blame game. And I just want to know why Mark Jackson can't be the coach.
Good question.
Why not?
There is a reason. And
go ahead, Chris. Tell us what that is.
No. I mean, there's been speculation. There's no one, of course, no one ever come out publicly and say the reason. You know, some rumors, rumblings. They did not like his religious beliefs. Some said he put him out on the players too much. So that was one of the rumors. There's nothing there, but clearly there's something, and we can't prove it. But after all these years of him not getting another chance in the NBA to coach, you have to. It looks like he's been blackballed. Right. For whatever reason. It looks like that.
Yeah. So you're thinking that's more like the Tebow effect, where they bring religion into their sports a little and make people, or I guess people uncomfortable, or whatever the case may be. If you gotta go, Chris.
I mean, that is,
it seems like in pro
that
sports?
Is a rumor. It seemed to have legs at some point. Mark, I think at one time said that wasn't the case. He didn't do those things. But, Craig Hodges never got back in the league for speaking his mind.
Right.
The NBA, once they don't want you around, can keep you not around. Period.
Yeah, I think they get to a point if they don't trust your position on their platform, then they won't even let you have it. If they think you use your stuff on their platform, they just won't let you do it.
And that's interesting. That's interesting, gentlemen, on that point. I didn't realize that it was more of a, but you're right. We haven't even heard his name in all these different jobs through the last 5 years or more from whenever the last time he coached. We haven't even heard his name come up as a candidate.
I think an opportunity with Sacramento. He was like one of the last 2 or 3 candidates for that job, but he didn't get it. So you could look at it and say they were trying to make nice and say we interviewed Mark Jackson, but were they really serious about giving him the job?
Right. Now, who is the leading candidate for this job? They don't have one at all.
I think what's his name? James Borrego from New Orleans, assistant coach. I think he's supposed to meet with them today or tomorrow. I think coming up there face to face. So he's having a face to face meeting with Knicks management. Good luck to him. And being a head coach in the NBA, it's an exclusive club, one of 30 jobs, going to get paid well. But if you are a coach, an outsider, and you see how they did Tibbs, would you want that job? And work for a franchise that just goes willy-nilly and says, hey, you got to go. I mean, would you want it? If you are set in your current spot, let's put it like that.
Am I going to leave my current good job to go to the Knicks? No.
Thank you.
But if I don't have a high profile job, I'm going to the Knicks.
That's fair.
I'm going to give it 2 years, whatever I got to do, but I'm going to get on that platform. That is for sure.
That's fair. Like if you're unemployed, that makes sense. Get paid, get that great money.
Coach, if I'm an assistant somewhere, I got to take that. You know what I'm saying? You got to get on that platform just to see how you can handle your business, and you never know what that's going to turn into. But you got to get up there first, So I'm not passing on that job if I'm not a head coach somewhere else.
Agreed.
Exactly.
I would have to go ahead and agree with RD there with that one. It's a very limited amount of head coaching of a basketball team in the NBA. And when things come out like that, number one, you want to be able to
Tell them to bring me my money.
to go ahead and get some of that money coming through. And then the other aspect would also to be is that, hey, if, like we always say, that the Knicks are the Knicks. They made a boneheaded move, in my opinion, letting Tibbs go. Should have stayed. And he was who he was. And they expected a different outcome. You just have to know is that, hey, I have to hit the ground running. The ceiling is very high for the team. And if things work out, they work out. If not, you know that at the end of the season, you could be gone. So you have to weigh out that risk and that reward.
Well, I'll say this about the Tibbs situation. It may not be a bad move to move on from Tibbs right now because Tibbs is known for the burnout factor.
Yes.
And that factor comes over time. So you're just potentially bringing him back to burn this team out even more, where they will never have a chance at making a run. So
Absolutely.
that is also a possibility.
That's a good point. And next segment of the show is brought to you by award-winning Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency, Auto, Home, Health, and Life Insurance, 1038 Lyle Avenue or 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Give her a call, 585-360-0094. Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency. Go ahead, Chris.
It's interesting how Knicks fans, before Tibbs was let go, made a point to complain about Tibbs playing his starters too many minutes.
Yep.
So that's what we heard throughout the season. Why Tibbs go to the bench, use the bench. But when the Knicks let Tibbs go, oh, why they let Tibbs go? What are they doing? So, which is it? The issue, I think, more and more that now the time has passed, is it looks like the Knicks did not have someone in mind to replace Tibbs once they let him go. That is the issue.
Right. That's the issue.
Yeah. Asking for permission to talk to current NBA head coaches, that's a bold move. And so far, all of the NBA teams said, no, you cannot talk to our head coach. And now the Knicks have moved on to former head coaches like a Mike Brown and even now assistant coach in New Orleans, James Borrego. So, but it looked like the Knicks did not have a plan. That's what I think Knicks fans are now upset about.
Well, speaking of plans, sometimes you plan as best you can, but unfortunately, things may happen while throughout the NBA season. And we saw a lot of things go unexpectedly for some teams, especially specifically players when it comes to injuries. We have noticed the Achilles heel of some players have just been getting blown, popped, snapped throughout the playoffs. And it seems to be for only star players. So we just want to end up knowing, gentlemen, you end up having Damian Leonard, Jason Tatum, and of course, Halliburton as well, all have Achilles injuries throughout this playoff run. Do you think this happens to be just a coincidence, or is this some a collective issue that's starting to show what's going on or a possible future when it comes to these types of injuries? What are your thoughts on these, gentlemen?
It's just a bad coincidence. You know, all three of them are players in the Eastern Conference. So that's another coincidence. And they're really three of them are kind of at different points of their NBA careers. You know, Tyrese is the youngest. Dame is toward the end of his NBA career. Jason Tatum is more at the prime of his in terms of age. You know, it's just a bad coincidence. I don't know. It's nothing to do with the number of games, the 82 games. And every time a star player gets injured, an NBA media person says the league should cut the season short, reduce the number of games.
Yeah.
Okay. No one in the West tore an Achilles. Shaden tears Achilles. Jalen Williams out tears Achilles.
Right.
So it looks bad because there's three guys in the East and there's three star players, but there was a young man in college working out for an NBA team, suffered an injury. College players. Michigan State lost a player in workouts, I think last week, to a season an injury that will cost him this coming season. It's just one of those bad things for those specific players.
Well, this is my take on this, and it might not be the greatest, but I don't believe in coincidences.
Okay,
that's like believing in it was a coincidence that the Dallas Mavericks got the number 1 pick. That wasn't no coincidence. Okay.
No.
Now, all these, I've been saying this for about, I don't know, maybe 10 years now. Me coming from baseball, we started the drug epidemic in sports. To me, there's something that is linked to HGH, to me. And I really started believing that when these players get legitimately injured, the NBA is giving their training staffs the go-ahead to give injured players human growth hormone for a quicker return, for a healthy, it's a healthy drug. It's the best drug known to man, in my opinion, human growth hormone. But what I started seeing is a whole lot of torn Achilles.
Really?
Right? So even my boy, Kobe Bryant, that's my guy. Kobe tore his Achilles when he was doing ungodly things, when he was already, everything Kobe past 2011, Kobe's legs were dead. I always told people the Mamba is dead. After 2011, the Mamba's dead. It's only Kobe Bryant out there playing basketball. In 2013, he tore his Achilles, but he was going through injuries. He was out of gas. He was doing incredible stuff, but that happened at the end. And I just have a bad feeling that these guys started turning to this kind of stuff. And that's what Kevin Durant, he tore his. And again, he was hurt for a good little stretch of time there. It wasn't like it just happened all of a sudden. His calf was bothering him. So I feel like they were treating it, and this is what they were doing. And the players feel so good on this thing. They moving and they even feel like nothing is wrong. And the next thing you know, pop. That's what I think is happening.
That's interesting you mentioned that because both of those guys had injuries. Tatum, he had a sprain or something. He had some type of injury before the Achilles pop, and so did Halliburton. Everybody.
JT he injured his wrist. Now Tyrese was playing with an injured calf.
Yeah.
And that was a discussion leading up to it. Will he play in game 6? Will he play in game 5, game 7?
Yep.
But Tyrese said after he'd do it again. He would play injured. That's the mentality he had. Now you bring up some great points, Rod. But here locally, I saw college player for Houston, Terrence Arsenault, sophomore in college, tears Achilles.
Yep.
19 years old. So he hadn't had time to go through all the different things and the wear and tear of playing long term in the NBA.
Right.
So it happened. And I saw him once he did it during the game. He did it and he hopped off the court. On one leg, he hopped off court. So he missed the rest of the season. Happened in December, like 2 Decembers ago. But he's 19 years old. You know, other issues now, LeBron, 40 plus years old. LeBron has the money, the wherewithal to try all kinds of things to keep in shape, to stay in shape. New treatments, new machines, new supplements, new this, that, and the other, to be playing 21 years in the NBA. How is he still doing these different things? The pace, the shoes, it's different guys, but different guys have different shoes. Different teams play fast, play faster, play fastest.
Right.
But it's just 3 guys. What if these 3 guys were the back of the bench players who we never saw? Would this be as big of an issue that it is right now because it happened to 3 star players?
Exactly. I have to agree with you there, Chris. It's because it's the stars. Because it happened to them and all within the same time period, people are like, we got to change some things down. We got to slow down the pace. I was like, we already have enough players with load management, not playing enough games already. It has happened to be, unfortunately, I think it could just be just a simple coincidence. But then at the same time, it has had me thinking, and maybe I got to rant a little bit. Maybe I just have to cook. I have to ask RD. Maybe there was something that was I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, people getting some treatment, bouncing back faster. They got all types of ways. And whenever there's a new type of supplement, I'm gonna call to say another supplement. There's also a way for that supplement to get in the system, out the system, pass the test. So it could be a possibility, but the game is always going to catch up. I think the biggest thing they see is that the NBA is about stars, gentlemen. It's about the stars and the players, and they can't have them going down. They can't have these guys be hurt.
Well, my question is, aren't these athletes supposed to be bigger, faster, stronger, more medical attention? Ain't they supposed to be better than yesterday's athlete?
That's what we're told.
Yeah, so and also back in the day, they used to walk the ball up the court. Now they run the ball up. As Draymond Green was mentioning the other night, they don't walk the ball up anymore. These guys.
No, they don't. That's because the game is not centered around the big man anymore. There is no big man. You walk the ball up so the big man can get down there to his block.
Okay.
You got me. It went through the big man. I've never seen 2 teams play at the pace of what I just seen Indiana and OKC play. I've never seen that. I've been watching basketball a long time. The only team that might even did anything like that was the Lakers with Magic, you know, Denver Nuggets and them, but they couldn't win. They were not good teams way back. But to see 2 really good teams play at that pace and be that good, that was, I haven't seen that. That's the fastest basketball I've seen. Proper basketball.
OKC and Indiana both play with pace, play fast. Both teams get after it on defense, force turnovers, and score quickly in transition. But at the same time, teams are starting to get back to playing with double bigs up front. That Holmgren, he's a tall player. He's not a heavy dude.
Nope.
But he had success with teaming with Isaiah Hartenstein, who used to play for the Knicks. You know, so 2 7-footers, different 7-footers. That's one of the things. It's also the evolution of the 7-footer.
Right.
We used to have, growing up, you know, I'm 53 years old. Growing up, the 7-footers were back to the basket, throw it down low, draw double teams, kick it out. If not, go to work one-on-one and score in the paint. That was the NBA of the late 80s, 90s, early 80s. Magic and Showtime Lakers played faster. But when they want to get the ball down low, they went to the captain. And then Cap, it may take Cap a while to get to the front court, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But once he got to the front court, they tossed it down low for that sky hook. That's what they did a lot. So that's part of the evolution of the NBA.
Right.
Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, those skilled big men. It's not a lot of them. Joker is a rare breed.
Yep. Who
can score down low, but also now, because he's an international player, 7-footers going shooting 3-pointers. 15 years ago, I still do it now. But 15 years ago, I would shake my head at a 7-footer shooting a 3-pointer. Get your big behind down on the block. That's what I grew up with. But now it's okay to shoot threes as a 7-footer, like Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm just like, okay, that's what it is today.
Yeah. And they still got to get a little bit more, go into the paint. They got to get in the block, some of these guys. It's just too much shooting. To me, it's too much from the outside.
It's too much because, gentlemen, if you are struggling to make a three, the easiest shot, the closest shot you have is somebody who can score in the post.
Right.
So if I got a skilled big man who can score in the post, toss the ball down low. Rather shoot up 45, 50, 60 3-pointers in a game. Oh, my goodness.
I meant to tell you this, Chris, by the way. I seen y'all talking about the Rockets earlier, and, I know a lot of people saying congratulations, but KD ain't going to do a doggone thing for y'all.
You really think so?
Not a doggone thing.
I don't think they're going to win the chip. I don't believe that.
They won't be better than they was this year at all. They have a worse record, guaranteed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Guaranteed.
Are we going to hear why?
Why is that?
Because you got an old man out there with young dogs. He going to slow them down. He ain't going to catch up to them. It's not a good dynamic. Stop putting these old dudes with these young guys, bro. Let them learn how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You got me? That's not what you they didn't put no old dogs with OKC. They didn't put no old dogs with Indiana. Stop doing that. Jalen Green, go ahead and send Jalen Green. If you're putting fingernail polish on, send them.
I will agree is that I think one thing, and Chris mentioned it earlier, is I'm a one believer when it comes to culture, when it comes to sports and locker room. But with Dylan Brooks being gone and the fans and the people within the organization just felt like they missed somebody who was the heart of that team, I think that's definitely going to be an impact. Because one thing I definitely know about when it comes to Kevin Durant, we all can agree that he's a future Hall of Famer, but it's my point of view to say that I don't believe his jersey will ever be retired for any team. He goes, he comes in, you know what you're going to get from KD, and he's going to be gone. But sometimes to go all the way in, to get to the championship, to become a champion, you need somebody in there that's going to be a glue guy in that locker room. And I think it's going to be a shame that Houston got rid of Brooks in that trade. But look, we'll see. Maybe I could be wrong.
You're not alone in that assessment. There are some folks, some of my fans on my Rocket show who agree with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
KD, he is not a vocal leader. KD also likes to get involved in social media rants with people he will never see face to face. What's the point of that? I mean, you're a grown man. Why are you spending time wasting, social media with these dudes?
You just said it. That's you know what that is? That ain't grown man energy. So I ain't gonna go what it is, but that ain't grown man energy. It is not.
Yeah, because I almost said something else between grown and man, but in the morning I left it alone. But point wise, I'm kind of curious to see how he does fit offensively, because really he is older. He's dealing with injuries. He can still score, but defensively, will he be able to do what Ime wants his guys to do?
Exactly.
That's a question as well. Will they be able to hide him defensively? Because Kevin Durant with Şengün up front together, that's going to put a lot of stress on that third player, Jabari Smith, Tareeson, and that one player can't guard two people because KD is not a great defender anymore. Şengün is not a great defender now. So how they're gonna make that work? Going to have Amen Thompson and Jabari. Okay, they can guard two folks. What about the other three? So we'll see.
Yes, sir. We will see. And it looks like we're approaching our time here. And just want to end up paying this last bill. Next, we're going to end up having our question of the day brought to us by the Challenger Community News, Western New York's largest weekly African-American newspaper. Go to thebuffchalnews.com or email articles to editor at the Challenger News with an S at the end.com. And what we have there is, we had the NHL, they had their draft, the NBA draft, and then earlier we ended up having the NFL draft as well. So a lot of young people with their dreams coming true, hoping to have an impact on their organizations. But, hindsight's 2020. So, gentlemen, you see the question there on screen. I will end up starting it off for the question of the day. What is the draft pick? And it could be for any sport that your team picked that still haunts you to this day. And as you could probably imagine, with me, Internet Passport, born in Western New York, folks from Buffalo Bills fan. And the one draft pick that haunts me to this day is when the Bills drafted defensive end / linebacker Aaron Maben. That was a draft pick where they also had an option to pick Brian Arakpo, who ended up being an all-pro for a couple of seasons, but instead went with the quick, undersized defensive end who had a little bit trouble of putting on weight, and they picked him over a well-established Brian Arakpo who was sitting there. So that ended up being one draft pick. I hear he's a great guy, but it was one draft pick that had me straight shaking my head, where you could see the one great prospect here, but instead they went with the undersized fast guy. But hey, it is what it is. But gentlemen, we could go down there to you there, Chris. Is there a draft pick that your team did that still haunts you to this day?
Oh, mine is easy. Really, all I probably need to say is I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. So that right there should tell you what pick still haunts you to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Darko Milicic. That's enough said. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Yeah, he said it there.
Y'all can't top that. Y'all can't top that.
I got one. So when I was watching the draft way back, and I thought Steph Curry should have been the number one pick in that draft, and everybody thought I was crazy. The New York Knicks could have made a trade with Minnesota to get the move up to get Steph Curry. So I don't know where they was picking. I think Minnesota might have been 6 and 7. Then the Knicks were 8 or something like that. But I just was staring at the Knicks getting Curry some kind of way, and they didn't. I don't know how it is, but they should have made that happen.
Radman, what's yours, man?
Oh, during our 20 years of Buffalo Bills are not making the playoffs, Walt Patulski. I don't think anybody ever remember. Number one draft pick out of Notre Dame. Didn't do a damn thing for the Bills. I think he started selling insurance after his first season with the Bills. Couldn't play at the big level. He couldn't make the jump. Bills had 3 or 4 of them that number one, but that was another one of their number one picks. That was just horrible. Walt Patulski.
Ooh. Oh yeah. So there's been some rough draft picks when it comes to multiple sports there, football, basketball, hockey. But hopefully these young people that were drafted earlier this year will have a positive impact when it comes to their team. So we wish them luck for what they do on the field, on the court, on the ice, but also in their communities. So definitely want to shout out to them and wish them the best of luck, because this is the Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman. It's coming up to the time. We may have to shut down the studio. No Diddy. We have to do what we have to do to make some moves happen over here. Want to appreciate our guests for coming in there, coming into the show. We always appreciate you guys. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, it's cost you nothing, but mean everything there to us. And then final thoughts off for this week of sports there. RD Long, final thoughts.
I don't have any. I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be hanging around.
Well, congratulations, RD. You're going to be in town, Rochester, New York, tomorrow for the induction into the Section 5 Baseball Hall of Fame. Can you tell us what time is that going to take place tomorrow?
Oh, that's at 11:15 tomorrow at the stadium. Me and Eddie Lee, the first black men going into the Section 5 Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
Oh,
yeah.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Can you tell our audience that don't know I remember you your exploits at Webster Schroeder High School. You still, I think a lot of your records in high school are still haven't been broken as of yet.
I don't know. All I know is your buddy would have been real proud today. You know that. You know that good and well.
Oh, you know it. I can hear his voice now, man. I can hear it.
Your
You
buddy
better
would
believe
have
it,
been
man.
walking around. He would have been riding around Rochester, boy, with beaming, boy.
Oh, no doubt about it. Oh, everybody would know about it.
Know
about it.
That's
right,
my
so
dad, Chris. My dad was a one-of-a-kind guy, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Congratulations to you, RD, man. Congrats to you.
Thank you, buddy.
This has been a blast.
You having me on, too. Thank you.
Yes, it is always my pleasure to be part of the Real Deal Sports Show. And we talked about a lot today. And I hope to be back soon, George and guys. And RD, it's my pleasure to meet you today, man. It's fun. And I'm going to remember what you said about the Rockets not going to win as many games. I'm kind of curious to see if you're going to be right or not. It won't hurt me because I'm not a fan. I cover the Rockets. So
right.
Win or lose, I'll be there to cover them. But
one last question for both of you gentlemen before we go. Seeing the Duke players go so high in the first round, is that an indictment on the head coach at Duke that why didn't they win the national championship with such high quality players that they had as their starters for this season?
Young.
Go ahead.
They're babies. These grown men out here, buddy. And I'm going to tell you, the stronger, when you are 17, 18, 19 years old, you're playing against 23 and 24-year-old men. These boys are so strong, they can bully you out your game until you get strong enough to deal with them. So go ahead, Chris.
And I mean, he's right, because you look at it, Duke had 3 of the top 10 picks, but they lost to Houston in the semifinals of the Final Four.
Yep.
Houston had grown men.
Yep.
Juwan Roberts was able to push Cooper Flag further out on that turnaround jumper because of that strength. College ain't the NBA. Duke players they got drafted based on potential of what they're going to do in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The Cougars had no draft picks, but
Nope.
made it to the title game.
Yep.
Duke had 4 guys get drafted. College ain't the pros.
Yep. They're projecting their strength. So when those kids get as strong as those men, their game, they just got more talent. And when that talent grows into itself, now you really got something. Those other guys are just really good players that were built up. You know what I mean? So
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent support. So I got to give Calipari too, because he's had a lot of good guys come through who are now outstanding NBA players. So what you just said, RD and Chris, I can see that's what it is. They're just not, their bodies and everything is just not built up at 17, 18 years of age, going up against those 23, 24-year-olds.
Now, ironically, the Cougs have probably this coming freshman class, 3 freshmen will probably, one of them is going to be one and done. So they got 3 or 4 young men.
Right. They stuff flip quick, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Well, great, guy. Thank you so much for coming on Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman. Look forward to having you guys back. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back next week. Right? Enter that passport.
Next week, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys on the next go around. And this has been the Real Deal Sports Show with the Radman.
Each passport did a great job today.